You've hit the right video to catch all the great things about Battleground. So today we're going to do an uncut, unfiltered tour of Battleground, Washington, what it's really like to live in Battleground, what you can expect for different types of shopping, housing, where it's located, all the things that you really need to know about living in Battleground, Washington. A lot of people think that Battleground is just a farm town. It's a lot more than that, especially with the growth that we've seen specifically over the last 10 years out here. And we want to show you exactly who Battleground attracts and what type of lifestyle you can expect when you are moving to the Battleground area. You're probably wondering who is a good fit for Battleground. Battleground has that really small town feel. Even though it is growing, there is not a huge population here right now. One of the things that people like to really focus and concentrate on is that there is still a lot of homes that sit on large parcels of land out here, but people that don't necessarily want to have large parcels of land because of all the building that has been happening here. There is that option of new construction or pre-owned homes that have been built here in the last 10 years. There are a lot more options of housing that are popping up to where 10 to 15 years ago, it just really was homes that were on acreage property with a lot more choice available out there in terms of properties to look to buy or even rent in the Battleground area. Battleground right now is becoming a place to live for everyone. The one key thing that you really need to know is that it is off the beaten path of everything else. Around here, you're probably looking at a good 30 minutes to drive to the Portland International Airport. You're not exactly next to freeways. Congestion is starting to happen out here in the Battleground area, and there is not a whole ton of jobs readily available directly in Battleground. So if you are a remote worker, it's a great area because you don't have to commute. But if you want something where your money goes a little bit further than other places, say like in Vancouver, Camas, or Ridgefield, Battleground would be the place for you because you do get more for your money in terms of housing, specifically new construction, but you do pay a premium for homes that are on land because a lot of people do want to live out in this area, and because more and more people are looking to move to Battleground, those properties that are on land are now becoming closer in properties because of the growth that is happening within Battleground. So Battleground is for everyone, but at the same time, the people that have lived here for a long time, that maybe moved here 10 years ago, don't necessarily like the growth that is happening here because they moved here 10 or 15 years ago to be in a rural area, and that's just not the case anymore because of the growth that is happening. So I really think one of the best ways to show you about Battleground and kind of talk about what's happening here is because I love food so much. I wanted to take you into one of my absolute favorite restaurants here in Battleground. It's called the Pita House. It's been here for a really long time. This place probably has my most favorite French fries of any place that I've ever had French fries at. And we're gonna kind of just sit down and talk about exactly what's happening here in Battleground, the growth and things that you can expect while we are enjoying one of my favorite meals here in Battleground. Getting ready to walk into my favorite spot, which is Pita House. They open at 11 a.m. and you see all these cars out here. There's already a line inside. That's how good it is. Guarantee you they're here for the Pita House special and or the French fries. Okay, so we're here inside Pita House. And like I mentioned before, because of how busy it is in here, it definitely goes back to how a small local town has that local feel. You have a lot of local residents that come in here, and that's not just for the Pita House, that has to go for a lot of other things that are here in Battleground. A lot of the restaurants and local businesses that you're gonna find here are all locals here in general that own and run these businesses. There are some big box name brand places here, but for the most part, it's all locally owned. So I think one of the first things that I want to touch on is that how the growth is happening here in Battleground. And again, it just goes back to people loving it here because it has that small town feel. And one of the main things that I think is pretty important is that the planning department that is within Battleground has a certain standard, specifically in the downtown Battleground area, that they're trying to maintain, and they're calling it the legacy standards, where they're not really trying to have these giant strip malls that are being built here. They want to protect like the walkability, architectural style, variety, and then also having the connectivity of streets throughout the downtown area. So I think that's kind of important if the city of Battleground stays true to what they're trying to accomplish here, in the next 2, 3, 5 years, that the downtown area is supposed to grow, but it's also trying to stay within a certain box to where it's not feeling like you have a bunch of just big box stores that are coming here, but you do still have that small town feel. But on the same context of that, we need to be real about what's happening here in Battleground because of the growth. I do have my little cheat sheet here because I want to make sure that I hit all the points that we want to cover about the growth here in Battleground. One of which is that the city is planning on having an interconnected trail network where the parks are being focused on here in the area. They also want to have preserve wetlands and natural areas as the growth is happening. Because there's so much land available to build on here, they're trying to implement steps to where you're not pushing out the wildlife, you're not destroying the beautiful nature that's here in Battleground. And again, because of the growth that is happening here, there is going to be some new jobs that are going to be available. That's including light industrial, regional commercial centers, and then helping residents work closer to home and reducing traffic flow that's going to be going in and out of Battleground, whether that's into northern portions of the Clark County area, or if somebody is having to commute into Portland. So they are focusing on how to bring more jobs into the Battleground area, which again is going to inject growth here in Battleground. So we have the Pita House sandwich, which is one of their specials here. As you can see, it looks absolutely delicious. And then these are the French fries that they have here. Favorite French fries in the whole world. I'm from the East Coast originally, and there's definitely some fry places on the East Coast that I love, and without question, these French fries are the best fry I've ever had of any. It has garlic with a hint of lemon. If you love something like that, you have got to come to Pita House and check this particular dish out when you come here. Obviously, since we're here in Battleground, one of the things that we want to talk about is housing. And one of the key components of this that the city of Battleground is planning for is by 2045, they plan on having about 7,000 new households and pretty much going to try to add 9,000 jobs to the area during that time frame as well. So you're gonna see some pretty good growth. over the next 20 years, and they're doing some things to prepare for that. And that's going to be not only housing, but infrastructure is changing. They are really focusing on making sure that any transportation that needs to be put into place by roads widening, access to buses, all that type of stuff is going to be implemented into the City of Battleground's plan to make sure that they can accommodate for all of this growth that they're forecasting by 2045. So we're here in one of the new construction neighborhoods in Battleground, a little bit from the main part of downtown Battleground. This is a New Traditions neighborhood. We've been here before to do some highlights of some of the construction they've done, so make sure you go back and check out that video. But we're gonna go in and kind of just chat about housing here in general in the Battleground area. As I mentioned before, we're here on just a little bit outside of the downtown Battleground area. We're here in one of New Traditions model homes. There's quite a bit of new construction going on out here. Whether you're looking for 2 stories, 1 levels, New Tradition has some of those types of properties that you can definitely look at purchasing. And if you're wondering what type of people are looking at moving in and even out of Battleground, there's definitely areas here that are more family orientated, or if you want homes that are attached and less maintenance and 1 levels that you don't have to necessarily do a lot of outside maintenance on. There's attached housing that is brand new construction here as well. If you prefer older homes, there's definitely neighborhoods here locally in Battleground that have older homes if you did like that style better than some of the new construction, because new construction is not for everyone and there's a process to that, versus if you were trying to buy something that was an older home. And again, like I just go back to the growth that's happening here in Battleground. It's not for everyone. I have, in the last several years, clients that have lived here in Battleground for quite some time, you know, they have moved out, or maybe they're still here in Battleground, but they're on Acreage versus in town where all of the growth is happening. Prime examples are, you know, like I had just mentioned, some of my older clients that have been here, the conveniences of hospitals or being near Portland, having to be located by the airport is something that's more suited to their lifestyle. And they have, you know, been here anywhere from 10 to 20 years and have made that conscious decision to move out of Battleground because of the growth that is happening here. And so on the other hand, you know, some of those clients that have moved out, it's not because they don't like Battleground. It just goes back to having those conveniences that are more readily available that are not here in Battleground yet. As some of my clients age out of this area, that's one of the things that they focus on, being closer to family, if they need to be taken care of or any of those types of things. That type of convenience is going to be closer into the Vancouver area or Camas or even Portland. So, you know, when you are moving to Battleground, those are things that you're going to want to take into consideration, because it is growing. Not all of those things are here readily available yet, but it is part of the City of Battleground's future planning and growth that they are looking forward to, that's going to happen over the next 10 to 20 years. So here's my final take on Battleground and who Battleground is for, and even who Battleground is not for. One of the main things that I think is super important is that it's not always about where you want to live being popular, but what type of lifestyle you absolutely want to live. So who is Battleground for? It's for somebody that could potentially want to live just outside of a bigger city such as Vancouver or Camas or even Ridgefield, because Ridgefield is growing just as fast as Battleground, and if not faster. And really, you have to be prepared for that growth here in Battleground. And there's all types of properties here that you could purchase, and new construction, older homes, and all of that. And again, going back to acreage properties, people tend to want to live out in Battleground because of the amount of land that is here to be able to buy a home that's away from other people. But one of the key things that you have to really remember is that even though you're buying property that's out on land and you're away from everyone, because the rate that Battleground is building, at a certain point, that growth is going to catch up out to the areas that are not necessarily in the urban growth boundary right now. If you're looking at an acreage property and you want to be away from people, look at the new construction and the path that is taking to make sure that whatever property that you're looking to purchase, if you're wanting to be in a private setting, that new construction isn't going to impede on the investment that you make. Because as I mentioned before, now properties in Battleground that are on acreage come at a premium. So you just really want to make sure that you protect your investment, especially if you're the type of person that wants to live that private life out from other people. And again, there are definitely neighborhoods that are more family oriented. All these new construction neighborhoods have parks in them. All of them are very close to schools. Battleground has pros and cons to it, and you just have to figure out which one of those categories that you fall into when you are considering moving out to Battleground. If you have any questions about Battleground, feel free to reach out, and I would love to answer those for you. But Battleground's a great area to live in, and I really think it's something that you should consider, but you just need to make sure that, again, you consider all the pros and cons before you decide to move out to Battleground.